Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are Wisconsin.
After a road trip that got rerouted through Chicago early this morning, the Brewers are back home to take on the Washington Nationals, and they return to a familiar voice that they will hear coming out of the radio booth starting tonight.
I feel really good, real good. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come back and worked. But the doctors kind of said okay. And they knew I was coming back anyway, so there's nothing they could do.
Mr. Baseball has his sense of humor back, and you fans have Bob Uecker back in the radio booth after serving more than 3 months of recuperating after heart surgery. Uecker is back. Great to see him, Augie.
And it's great to see him back there. To see him, you just got to smile when you see him back making that play.
All right, he's back for the home games, at least to start out with, and tonight's pitching matchup that Uecker and Jerry and I and B.A. and Rock will all see along with you tonight. Craig Stammen and Chris Narveson. And Stammen, a tough last game, lost 1-0 his last time out.
Pitched very good the last out. The Brewer hitters are going to have to be patient with him. He likes to throw his breaking ball. He's got a plus fastball. He's going to try to sink on him. So patience by the Brewer hitters, and Chris Narveson needs to get off to a quick start.
Yep, he was able to get through that first inning in his last start to beat the Braves. A very good outing for him, 6 innings and just 2 earned runs. So he goes for back-to-back wins. The Brewers begin their homestand. B.A. and Rock will tell you who the key players are going to be when we come back.
By AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. AT&T Rethink Possible. And brought to you by the new Miller Lite Vortex bottle. Taste greatness.
No greater ballpark for fun than Miller Park. A lot of kids having some fun up there on the terrace level. And a good crowd expected tonight. Friday night baseball from Milwaukee and Miller Park. It is the Milwaukee Brewers and the Washington Nationals. Hi, everybody. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us tonight. It is great to be home. Hope everybody's doing all right after the big floods last night. The Brewers got in the wee hours of the night, but, Rock, they're ready to go today, and it's going to be interesting to watch Rickie Weeks and if he can continue this hot streak, because no leadoff hitter in baseball has been as productive as Rickie Weeks.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. You know, Rickie's playing like the player the Brewers thought they were going to get when they drafted him. #1, and you know he's staying back, hitting the ball line to line, hitting home runs. A 364 road trip with 4 home runs. He's jump-started the offense this year, 6 leadoff home runs. What more can you ask for Rickie Weeks? If he keeps this up, it could be a historic year for him.
With every home run, with every RBI, it is a new career high for Rickie Weeks. And it's not just the offense that is making a little noise here. A guy we're watching down in that bullpen is John Axford. And yesterday, Rock, he gets the final 5 outs, maybe his most impressive save of the season.
He's got nerves of steel. I mean, he's been unbelievable. Throwing strikes, throwing hard, good curveball. He's got 38 strikeouts so far this year, only 12 walks. That's over a 3-to-1 walk-to-strikeout ratio. Outstanding stuff for John Axford.
Well, we'll see if the Brewers can keep the train a-coming. It's the Brewers and the Nationals. Game 1, it's coming up next. And the Cincinnati Reds, those two just played each other, as a matter of fact, in their last series that wrapped up yesterday. And unfortunately, Steven Strasburg is not in the rotation against the Brewers this week, but the show, as they call him, is here. And his Nationals come into play with a 42-54 record. They are in 5th place in the National League East. Jim Riggleman is their manager, his first year as the full-time skipper after taking over last year on an interim basis, taking over for Manny Acta. See, Ryan Zimmerman leads the Nationals in batting. Adam Dunn with the big power numbers as well. Here is the starting lineup for Jim Riggleman's Nats, brought to you by Subway. It's Nigel Morgan, Christian Guzman, and Ryan Zimmerman. Adam Dunn, Josh Willingham, and Mike Morse. And then it's Ivan Rodriguez, Ian Desmond, and Craig Stammen rounding it out. And that lineup will face left-hander Chris Narveson on 90s throwback night here on a Friday in Milwaukee.
Yep, got the uniforms on, and Chris Narveson looking to back up a pretty good start against the Atlanta Braves back on the 17th. He got a win. Only 2 runs in 6 innings of work. He scattered 6 base hits. A nice job. He's 1-0 against the Nationals in his career. Both times he's pitched against them, it's been in relief and a 245 earned run average.
Narveson coming off a good start his last time out, and that answered one of his worst starts of the season. Here's how the Brewers line up defensively, brought to you by Blaine's Farm and Fleet. You've got Braun, Gomez, and Hart in the outfield. McGee, Escobar, Weeks, and Fielder around the horn, with Jonathan Lucroy catching the left-hander Chris Narveson. Casey McGee and Corey Hart return to the lineup tonight after a day off yesterday. Ken Maka's club winning in Pittsburgh yesterday by a final of 3-2. Giovanni Gallardo picked up his 9th win, and that meant a 500 road trip. 4 wins and 4 losses. The crew chief is Dale Scott, and he is the home plate umpire tonight. Brewers and the Nationals, game 1 of this 3-game weekend series. Glad you're with us tonight on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Bob Uecker has returned. He's back in his familiar spot, and everything kind of seems right with the world, doesn't it, partner?
Yeah, back to normal around here at Miller Park. Good to see you in that microphone. Or behind the mic anyway.
Yeah, Mr. Baseball underwent heart surgery back in April, and a long road to get back. He's going to do home games for the time being and selected road trips. And this is his first day back as the Brewers play-by-play announcer. There is strike 2. Narveson getting ahead of Nyjer Morgan quickly. First innings continue to be an issue for Narveson, and he is hoping to have a clean first inning here tonight, and that's a good start. Strikes out Nyjer Morgan for the first out. Well, Narveson and Stammen, his mound opponent tonight, on a dubious list. Kevin Millwood, Dave Bush giving up a lot of runs in the first inning, leading their respective leagues, and then Narveson is right there with him. And you can imagine, with Dave Bush and Chris Narveson on the mound and having those kind of numbers in the first inning,
yeah,
it's a similar story for each.
And one of those things that you really can't put your finger on.
Bouncer out to short. Guzman is retired. 2 quick outs. 83 degrees here in Milwaukee tonight after all of the rains and the storms and the flooding came through the area last night. The Brewers actually had to fly to Chicago from Pittsburgh. So a plane trip to Chicago, not Milwaukee, and then a bus ride from Chicago back to Milwaukee. And everybody on the ball club and with the staff able to get back to their homes in the wee hours last night.
As long as everybody gets in safe, that's the key. Wasn't that big a deal.
Just felt like you're coming back from the West Coast, you know.
Right.
It's like a West Coast trip. Ryan Zimmerman down the right field line. Hart will run it down. That's a good start for Chris Narveson. How about a 6-pitch inning in the first? Now, Ken Maka open for some run support for his left-handed starter tonight. Here is the lineup that Maka has issued tonight. It's brought to you by Subway. Ricky Weeks, Corey Hart, Ryan Braun at the top. You've got Fielder, McGee, and Lucroy in the middle. Check out Fielder's numbers. 4 of his last 6 hits have been home runs, and he leads the National League in that category. Bottom of the order is Gomez, Escobar, and Narveson.
Yeah, Stammen 2 and 4 so far this year. 550 earned run average. Opponent batting average at around 300. He threw pretty well against the Marlins his last time out. 6 innings, allowed only 1 run. Unfortunately, it was enough to beat him. So a tough luck loss for Stammen his last time out.
Well, the Nationals, a streaky ball club. Matter of fact, they are very similar to the Milwaukee Brewers in a lot of areas. They can certainly hit some home runs. They have some power bats in their lineup. And the Brewers today boast 3 of the top 10 home run hitters in the league. Ricky Weeks now on that list. Matter of fact, you can say they're in the top 9 because Weeks, with 19 home runs, is 9th in the National League to begin the day. Fielder leads the league. Corey Hart is tied for 4th.
Now, both of these teams score an awful lot of their runs using the home run ball, so it could be an interesting series.
Well, as Rock mentioned in the open tonight, Ricky Weeks coming off a monster road trip rather. Weeks finding his home run stroke. Had 12 hits on the road trip in just 8 games, including 4 home runs and 9 RBIs in those 8 games as he takes a strike on the inside corner. It's 2-2.
And he scored at least 1 run in the last 6 games. One thing you got to be careful with Stammen is that sinking fastball. He gets an awful lot of ground ball outs. One of the best ground ball to fly ball ratios in the National League.
Little half swing, and Weeks foul tips it into the glove of Rodriguez. And 1 gone for Stammen on a strikeout. Defensively, the Nationals have Willingham, Niger Morgan, and Michael Morse in the outfield. An infield of Ryan Zimmerman, Ian Desmond, Christian Guzman, and Adam Dunn. And the future Hall of Famer, Pudge Rodriguez, catching Craig Stammen. Pretty good infield defense, especially with Zimmerman over at third base. The young rookie, Ian Desmond, out at short, or the second-year player, I should say. Here's Corey Hart. Refreshed after a night off last night in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, good to win a ball game last night in a game where Corey Hart and Casey McGee get the night off. Corey Hart has not had an off day in quite some time.
And then went through the All-Star break with really no off day. A lot of travel out to the West Coast. Obviously, he was in the Home Run Derby. Finished 3rd in the Home Run Derby, and then he participated in the All-Star game as a starter. He was the National League starter in right field, replacing Jason Hayward at the Midsummer Classic. Washington is coming off a series against the Reds. They had a 4-game series. They split that series, but they have won the last 2. Strasburg won it 2 days ago, and then yesterday, Livan Hernandez. As Hart goes down the line, that's a fair ball, and that's going to go to the wall. And Morse has trouble with it. Now Hart's on his way to third. Here comes the throw. Not in time. Corey Hart with a triple.
Wow, what a beautiful swing by Corey Hart on a pitch that wasn't even a strike. It was off the outside corner. Looked like a breaking ball. Looked like the same pitch that Ricky Weeks struck out on. A little slider that was off the outside corner. Nice easy swing by Corey, just serving it out to right field. Just jumps off his bat down in the corner, and once it got by Morse and right, pretty good chance Corey's going to make third base.
3rd triple for Corey Hart this year. One of the fastest Brewers. And now he is at third with just 1 out for Ryan Braun. So the Brewers trying to do some first inning damage on Craig Stammen. snap throw to third, and Hart is just back.
Got to be careful with Rodriguez back there. Not only does he throw out 40% of base stealers, not afraid to throw behind a runner, pick him off. Watch how quick. Goes behind Brawny. A little bit of a drop step and right on the money. And almost got him.
Pudge Rodriguez still one of the great defenders behind the plate.
Might not be swinging the bat right now like he did when he was young, but he hasn't really lost a whole lot behind home plate.
No balls and a strike on Braun. Got a runner at third, and Ryan pops it foul. Ryan starts the day with 15 home runs. That's fourth on the ball club. Fielder leads the way. He leads the National League. Mentioned Corey Hart is fourth in the National League to start play today, and Ricky Weeks with 19. He is ninth.
4 guys in the top 10 in this series. Got Adam Dunn.
0-2 to Braun. And a good block back there by Ivan Rodriguez. Pudge is always fun to watch catch. And it's one of those guys that, like Trevor Hoffman, you say he is a future Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. As Rodriguez has the credentials, not just defensively, but offensively. He has the MVP award, and even at the age of 38, he still bounces around well behind home plate.
And it's amazing at that age, he can still catch as much as he does.
There's another block. Hart stays put. Braun lays off the slider, and it's 2-2.
He'll be in the Hall of Fame. It's just a matter of how long he's going to keep playing before he goes in. He's been a good one for a long time.
14-time All-Star.
About as quick a feed as you'll see any catcher behind home plate. That's where it begins and ends with that throw to second base.
Braun hits one hard, deep center field. Back is Morgan. He's got it for the out, and that'll be an easy score for Corey Hart. 1-0 Milwaukee as Braun hammers one to deep center. A sacrifice fly and an RBI, and Milwaukee has the early lead tonight.
Got one out over the plate. Funny, it sounded like he hit it pretty good, just didn't carry out there in center field. And you got the dampness, you've got the humidity. Sometimes the baseball doesn't carry as well.
So Hart's triple sets up the sacrifice fly, and it's 1-0. And here is Prince Fielder. Fielder has been on a home run binge in the month of July. Had 10 home runs in the month of June. That led all of Major League Baseball. And only Buster Posey has hit more home runs in July. Fielder now at 24 with 8 this month. He has hit home runs, and he has been hit a lot here lately. The road trip saw plenty of both for Fielder.
Yeah, he and Ricky both. And the Brewers lead all of baseball and hit batters 50. Nobody even close. But just like Ricky Weeks, Prince Fielder hitting his home runs from line to line. That's why he's been so consistent in hitting them. Ricky doing it at the leadoff spot. And Prince has been hot for a while now. When they decide to pitch to him.
Ball and 2 strikes. Stammen coming right after him. Count evens at 2-2. Both Fielder and Weeks homered in yesterday's game. They homered together in Monday's game as well. 7 home runs this month. Driven in 11. The 2-2. Hit hard foul.
In Pittsburgh, the Brewers won the 2 pitchers duels on Monday and Thursday. Lost 2 slugfests.
Steven Strasburg paying attention here in his rookie season, and a guy who is pulling big crowds wherever he goes when he pitches. He helped sell out Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati a couple of days ago. The real deal. They call him the show. Unfortunately, we're going to miss him here in Milwaukee this time through the rotation. I'm not sure the Brewers hitters are too sad about that, but I was kind of looking forward to watching him pitch.
I think the Brewer hitters, you know, I've asked a couple of them. They said, yeah, it'd been nice to see him, and you want to face the league's best, and he's certainly becoming one of them. Early yet, but so far he's been dominating.
Fielder hits one hard, but right at Adam Dunn for the final out of the inning. The Prince lines out. The Brewers get a run. Corey Hart triples. Ryan Braun drives him in. We head to the second at Miller Park.
Triple and a Ryan Braun sac fly. And with MLB.TV Premium, you can enjoy HD quality home and away coverage, multi-game view, and the ability to pause and rewind live games. Visit Brewers.com to order and to get more details.
It's a nice night here in Milwaukee tonight. Roof is open. A lot of clouds in the area still, but we're trending towards a much improved weekend from what we've seen here the last couple of days. Matter of fact, Sunday it's supposed to be bright and sunny for the final game of the series.
Rain's been following the Brewers. Rain just about every day in Pittsburgh.
More specifically, it's been following the Brewers broadcasters. Literally. Like the most isolated thunderstorm you could ever imagine followed us all the way back to the hotel the other day.
Yeah.
I think it only rained on us.
With no opportunity to take shelter. Walking over the Clemente Bridge.
Ball and a strike on Adam Dunn. Well, Adam Dunn has had some memorable home runs here at Miller Park. He's actually hit one completely out of the stadium. He hit one through the Toyota Tundra territory, and it bounced one hop and then into the parking lot. He's also hit a couple into the dew deck.
Man, you got to be careful with Adam Dunn. He likes to get his arms extended. You can crowd him with a fastball, but you better be careful. And the dew deck, that's a pretty good poke. You very rarely ever see a ball go up there, even in batting practice. But he hit one up there a few years ago.
There's a man-sized home run up there, folks. Dunn has enjoyed his time at Miller Park so much that he's actually on a pretty exclusive list. Only Derek Lee has hit more home runs at Miller Park than Adam Dunn throughout his career. And remember, Dunn and Lee both in a division together with the Brewers for many years. Lee still is. Dunn when he was with the Cincinnati Reds. But Adam Dunn has hit 15 career home runs at Miller Park. And that one hits him. So Dunn hit by a pitch and a base runner for the Nationals.
Now, if you're going to come inside, you better not leave it out. We just talked about that. So if you're going to miss, you miss in. And from time to time, just like the Brewer hitters know, you're going to get hit. You leave one out over the plate to this guy, you're in big trouble. That one gets him on the arm, and as big as those arms are, I doubt he even felt it. It's like a gnat.
Ooh, got Lucroy in the upper thigh. Looks like Lucroy took a bigger shot than Dunn. Here's Josh Willingham.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5 in his Nationals batting order is where all your home runs and RBIs come. The run production. Not much power comes anywhere else. Not in front of them, not behind them. So you have to be careful with this part of the lineup, like you do with every team.
Josh Willingham with 15 home runs this year. The greatest day of his major league career happened right here at Miller Park last season. That was back on July 27th, nearly a calendar year ago, when he had 2 grand slams in the same game in consecutive at-bats. Changeup misses. Willingham with those 2 grand slams, becoming just the 13th player in the history of baseball to do that. Consecutive grand slams. I remember it well. We had an unusual vantage point that night. We broadcast that game from the Harley-Davidson deck. First one was against Suppan, and then it was against Mark DeFelice.
And both of them fastballs middle in, and he crushed them both.
He almost hit that second one up into our broadcast area, not on the Harley-Davidson deck. I wouldn't mind doing a game from out there again, but you'd have to promise a better result than what we had that night.
Craig Stammen actually started that game for the Nationals. That's a long way out there to the Harley deck. I'd go out there. That was fun. Have good food out there, which is the most important thing.
Right. That's what we spent most of the game doing, eating. Look at that big crowd still filing in here. Full count to Willingham. Shot to left. Over his Braun to cut it off. Dunn will stay put at second. So after a 3-up, 3-down first inning, Chris Narveson has the first 2 on behind him here in the second.
Able to get ahead of these 2 hitters in the second inning and has lost them both. A hit batter and a bullet into left field. And Narveson left that fastball up out over the plate. A mistake you don't want to make with this part of the lineup.
Michael Morse will hit for the Nationals. We saw a little bit of Morse last year. Tall, rangy outfielder, has a great arm. And he hits that one high in the air to left. Braun is back at the track, and it's off the top of the wall and out of here. That is going to be a 3-run home run for Michael Morse. And the Nationals, just like that, are on the board.
Well, that first inning was exceptional for Chris Narveson, and it looked as though he had good command. And Michael Morse picking on another fastball. Check out the location. Down and in. Morse able to drop the head on it, and off the top of the wall and off the back wall for a 3-run homer. Still nobody out.
You see it landed right on the top corner that propelled it out of here. Rodriguez on the first pitch pops it up. And Weeks will make the catch. That is out number 1. Home run number 5 for Michael Morse, and he shows you the kind of strength he has. Leaning out on one.
Yep, that fastball once again up in the strike zone, able to get it on out of here. Actually not up in the zone. We had a little bit too much of the plate, and he was able to golf it out of here. That was a good piece of hitting.
So 1 out, and here's Ian Desmond. early inning woes continue for Chris Narveson, not in the first inning tonight, but the second.
Good changeup that time. Fastball in, changeup away. The thing about Chris Narveson, you know, he will struggle in the first, second inning at times, but then he has the ability to collect himself and, you know, finds his way to be able to eat up 5, 6 innings. But you'd like to be able to have him do that without giving up the runs early.
Yeah, hoping not to end up in a big hole to start the game. Narveson is coming off a win his last time out against Atlanta. A dangerous lineup in Atlanta. And Narveson pitched well. There's a good changeup for a strikeout. So Desmond is out. The second strikeout for Chris Narveson. Time now for our U.S. Cellular text to vote question of the week. You can get interactive with us by texting your answer to 234-234. This week's question: which team is the most surprising this season? White Sox, Reds, Rangers, or Padres? Type the corresponding letter. We'll take a look at the fan polling a little bit later in the broadcast. 2 outs for Stammen. Quickly 0-2 on the Nationals pitcher.
Not a bad hitter. 8 for 29 so far this year. Narveson started him out with a slider.
Got it with a curveball. So the inning is over, but Michael Morse delivers a 3-run home run. You figure there's going to be a lot of banging in this series this weekend. Both of these teams hit home runs, and Morse gives his Nationals a 3-1 lead.
Nationals lead the Brewers 3-1. Reporting from the sideline, I'm Drew Olson. There's a retro theme to tonight's game. The Brewers are wearing uniforms from 1997 through 1999, and they invited former All-Stars Jeff Cirillo and Greg Vaughn to join the party. Cirillo threw out the first pitch to Vaughn before the game, and he told a great story about himself, guys. His first big league at-bat in 1994, he struck out against Roger Clemens on 3 pitches and jogged back to the dugout. And Vaughn grabbed him and said, "Son, don't do that again."
Don't strike out or don't jog back?
Don't jog back. He figured things out, though, B.A. He had 1,500 hits in his career.
It was nice of Cirillo to get all dressed up for us tonight. He had his shower shoes on out there. It's a good look for him. We're going to catch up a little bit more with Jeff Cirillo and Greg Vaughn a little later in the broadcast. And as a matter of fact, Rock, you guys are going to have an instructional tonight with the 2 former All-Stars.
That's right. Believe it or not, that is dressed up for Cirillo.
It really is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk hitting with those 2 guys. That's a big surprise. You know, two very good hitters that, you know, were different types of hitters.
Well, Cirillo still owns the career-high batting average in Brewers franchise history, and a .307 career hitter as a Milwaukee Brewer. 2 stints with the Brew Crew, as a matter of fact. course, Greg Vaughn was a power bat. A lot of home runs, a lot of RBIs, twice an All-Star as a Brewer. Casey McGee right off the end of the bat out to Guzman for out number 1. You look at certain uniforms, Rock, and I think the uniforms that the Brewers are wearing tonight from the late 90s, the final years of County Stadium, those two players come to mind when you look at these uniforms. It's amazing how a particular style of uniform brings to mind certain players. And it's interesting that Cirillo and Vaughn look more comfortable in their jerseys than the Brewers do, because we don't see the current Brewers in these unis very often.
Yeah.
He looks good in any uniform, Ed Cedar.
I think about Dave Nilsson when I see that uniform.
Marquise Grissom.
Mark Loretta. Yeah. Some good players.
Well, there's a guy over in that Washington Nationals dugout that feels right at home in those throwback Brewers uniforms of the 90s, and that is Pat Listash, former Rookie of the Year. Now on Jim Riggleman's staff here in D.C.
He's going to be a manager someday. He is a student of the game. He understands how to communicate with his players, and he's a good baseball guy.
Well, my brother Mike was with Pat as his pitching coach in the minor leagues in West Tennessee a few years back, and Mike still says Pat Listash, one of the best managers he's ever worked with. And you've got to think he'll be getting his chance pretty soon. Guzman makes the catch. Luke Croy is out. And 2 up and 2 down here in the second inning for Craig Stammen.
Yeah, last year the Nationals had Marquise Grissom on that staff. They had Grissom, they had Listash, a couple of former Brewers. The gripper, Marquise Grissom.
We're going to sit down with Listash. Going to go on the rail with him Sunday. So Brewers Live pregame. And hear from Pat Listash. As much as he would, or as much as the Brewers would like him to wear those throwback jerseys here tonight, Listash has work to do with the Nationals. 2 outs for Carlos Gomez. Gomez has actually been a part of the last 2 Brewers wins. He managed to reach base in pinch hitting roles in front of Ricky Weeks, and then Ricky Weeks back on Monday, and then again yesterday hitting a 2-run home run. Little cue shot, and that one is going to be caught by Guzman. All 3 outs in the air to Christian Guzman. 3 up, 3 down inning. As they put up on the big scoreboard, welcome back Bob Uecker, and a standing ovation from a big crowd here at Miller Park. Mr. Baseball taking a bow. He's back in the spotlight. Every great artist needs a showroom, and he's got a showroom back to do his thing, and we're glad to have him back. We're also glad to have Doug Melvin here, the Brewers general manager, joining us for this third inning. We'll be getting into a lot of the trade deadline chatter. Always a fun time. I guess I don't know about fun is the right word, but fans certainly love to play armchair general manager. Doug, and how have you been doing, and what have you seen, and what are you hearing on the old trade front these days?
Yeah, you know, it's a good time. I know the fans enjoy it. I'm not so sure the players enjoy it as much because, you know, they don't know if they're going to be here, gone, whatever. But, you know, it's a time that you got to always be available to answer your phone and make some phone calls. And we were here till 10 o'clock last night, and the elevators broke, and we were up in our war room, and Gord Ash, myself, and Zach Manassian and Carl Mueller, four of us were doing some work and just catching up on some things. We've all been out of town a little bit, so it's a fun time, but nothing happening at this time. But I do think that things will speed up a little bit.
Oh man, what a play that was from Chris Narveson! Wow, that was something else as Narveson scoops it and then shovels it over to Fielder. Narveson used his glove. Fielder did not, and Morgan is out.
There you go. Good athletic play by Chris Narveson. A little bit more, and Nigel Morgan would have had a base hit. Well done by Chris. When that ball gets by Narveson, no way you're going to be able to get Morgan on that.
It's usually the other way around. You know, the fielder uses his bare hand, and the receiver uses his glove.
You know, Doug, we're talking about the trading deadline. Is it true where you know, some teams, I think, wait for one team to make a big deal and then things start happening very quickly? Or do general managers sit back and wait for somebody else to get it going?
Well, sometimes it happens where a team makes a deal and another team reacts to that. And I know when Cliff Lee got traded, went to Texas, a couple clubs right away called up and, you know, trying to find out what's going on and seeing if they could do some things. So, you know, the way I handle it is I look at all the clubs. We analyze every ball club. And we don't call every club because there's some clubs there's just no matches. And you don't want to go and call a club and talk about players and that, and then all of a sudden it gets out because they don't have any interest in that. So it gets out into the internet and that. So, you know, we identify the clubs early, see if there's a match, and then just stay in touch and see if things change. And you watch the standings because you know that if some team falls behind, they may react. I think there's been a lot of trades over the history of the game that the team's done something and say, now we have to do something. And that's what you don't want to get into, is that kind of situation.
There's a foul ball down the right field line as Hart goes banging into the wall. And let's hope he's all right. Corey Hart goes hard into the right field retaining wall. And taking a look at his right hand.
And not a lot of room between that foul line and that wall. It is padded, but not where Corey hit it. The knees right into that cement. That's going to.
Carlos Gomez all the way over there too, just in case it was a fair ball.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. I mean,
he does a lot of things where he backs up bases. He's one of the better outfielders that I've seen that gets to the ball quickly and gets it in as quick as he can. He takes a lot of pride in that. He makes his mistakes because of his aggressiveness and that, but there's a lot of those little things that he does that I don't see from a lot of other outfielders.
Got a good arm. You got a very athletic outfield. That's one thing you can say. Jim Edmonds at his age, I mean, nobody's smoother in the outfield, but when you've got Corey out there and Gomez and Ryan Braun, those three guys cover an awful lot of ground.
Well, you see Hart, his right hand goes slamming into that concrete part of the wall underneath the padding, and athletic trainer Dan Wright is checking on Hart. What goes through a general manager's mind when one of your players is out there being looked at by the trainers?
Yeah, you obviously don't want anybody hurt in that, and especially Corey, but any player, you don't want any kind of injuries at this time of the year because it's always hard to replace players as the season goes on and that. But injuries are a big part of the game. We've had a few, but it hasn't been the reason for us performing the way we have this year. It's not an excuse, but someone like Corey, who's had an outstanding year, you just hate to see where he would miss any kind of time.
Yeah, speaking of injuries, Giovanni Gallardo, how's he feeling today?
Pretty good. I was very impressed with his velocity watching the game last night, and he was 95 most of the night.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe those few days off, maybe it was a little bit of a blessing in disguise because, you know, he had pitched a lot of innings. We were concerned. I think he was second or third in the majors for pitches. and that. But I was very, very pleased with his performance yesterday.
It's got to be gratifying. I mean, I think you can tell the team is really relaxed when you know you have not just Giovanni on the mound, but having him every 5 days, and I think not having him kind of caught up with the rotation at the end there.
Exactly, and you'd like to have a couple more of them because that's what prevents losing streaks. And we've had a couple streaks where we go out there, we have the bad games and that, and having that's the difference with the Cardinals when they can run a Carpenter and a Wainwright out there. You don't have a long losing streak because you usually have a stopper that can step in there. And Giovanni's been ours this year, and that. So you want to win as many games as you can when he's starting, and that. So looks like Corey's going to be okay.
Yeah, that's good news here. They wanted to make him throw a baseball, and you can understand why. Dan Wright and Ken Maka, he's going to have to prove himself to stay in this lineup and to make sure he's healthy enough to throw a ball. And
look at Maka run.
Maka's outrunning Dan Wright to the dugout. It's a photo finish.
There's a first, right?
Yeah. Also, look at him puffing now.
Not exactly Todd Coffey coming out of the bullpen, is he? Well, we're here with Doug Melvin, the Brewers general manager, and good to see Corey Hart staying in the game here, one away. Talk about the trade deadline, and maybe you can just kind of go through the logistics of a trade deadline, which is the 31st, but just give us the rundown of the next couple of weeks here from your seat.
Yeah, again, you stay in touch with all the teams. We've already exchanged phone numbers with everybody, so that where you're going to be at the deadline, because it's so important. Team. Some general managers travel with the team. Some may just stay back. I know before I've been with the club, we made one of our biggest trades when I was in Texas, and I was in Toronto, and the team left to go back to Texas, and I stayed back in the hotel in Toronto and pulled off we had a 5-player trade. At the time, Dan O'Brien helped me, and I was traded for Royce Clayton and Todd Stottlemyre, and I had to get Todd Zeal back from Florida before I could make the trade, because Fernando Tatis was in the trade. So, you get your people on board. This time you're reading a lot of scouting reports. You got a lot of calls with your scouts. You look at the schedules. We have scouts looking at different pitchers of different ball clubs. And you just got to be ready for it. And sometimes you think there's nothing happening. All of a sudden you could get a phone call and say, hey, we need to know in the next 2 to 3 hours. So you have to be ready and on top of things. So there's a lot of preparation beforehand. You just can't sit back and, that club's not interested. And then all of a sudden something comes up that they are.
There's a base hit to center. Gomez fires one wayward, and that's going to allow Zimmerman to second base. So Guzman scores after the double. It is 4-1 Washington. Zimmerman goes to second base on the wild throw from Gomez.
That's what you're talking about. I mean, he's pretty athletic out there. He's got a good arm, but sometimes you're just better off hitting the cutoff man and keeping that man at first base to keep that double play alive. It is a very tough middle of the order for these Washington Nationals, Doug. Most of their run production coming 3, 4, 5 in the order.
Yeah, they're very, they can be explosive offensively because of Zimmerman, Dunn, Willingham. Willingham seems to hit very well against us. And then if Nyjer Morgan gets on base, Guzman gets his hits too, being a switch hitter. But they can score a lot of runs. So they can't, they're not the Washington Nationals that go into the ballpark and, you think you're going to get 2 or 3, 4 wins from them. They're a lot more talented ball club, and they've come a long way. Mike Rizzo's done a nice job as general manager.
We've been asking everybody in the organization, how about you? Are you disappointed that Stephen Strasburg's not pitching?
No. No, we'll get to see him. He's going to have a long career. We'll get to see him and that. But, it's real interesting about a pitcher like that who, coming out of high school, was not highly regarded, and now he's one of the top pitchers in the game, and that. So it's a funny game how an individual can perform, very similar to Ricky Weeks, who had trouble getting a college scholarship, and out of high school never got drafted, and the kind of player that he is. So, it's you got to be real patient. You just never know. The human element of the player can fool you. It all comes down to an individual's passion, their dedication, their work ethic to become a good player. But Strasburg is a fun guy to watch. We watched him on TV a number of times. I thought I heard somebody come around the clubhouse calling him 99. because every fastball is 99 miles an hour.
Well, you've been around this game a long time, and I'm interested in your perspective on why do you think Strasburg is such a marquee draw? He's selling out stadiums wherever he pitches. His jersey is the #1 selling jersey in baseball right now, even surpassing Derek Jeter of the Yankees.
Well, power, power sells. I think, if you got a guy hitting 50 home runs, that sells. People like to see that. And he's probably right now the way Nolan Ryan was his career, except for Nolan really struggled with his control and command and got traded. And, Steven Strasburg's come on the scene pretty polished with his repertoire of pitches. But, I think that's the part of it. People do like power type pitchers, but he's beyond just a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
Narveson facing Adam Dunn here with a runner at second. 4-1 Nationals lead. And a little bouncer out to McGee. Easy play to get done. That is the second out. I know you've been through the minor league system a little bit. Can you give us an update on what you've seen down below?
Yeah, we have some good young pitchers coming along. Willie Peralta is just going to get elevated to Huntsville. Has had a nice year at Brevard County. Kyle Heckathorns have been in Appleton's going up to Brevard. They've had nice years. Jake Odorizzi, another young pitcher. We do have some pitchers coming. Amari Rivas at AA. Mark Rogers are throwing the ball well. But, it's a few years away, and that's the one thing. We just have to be patient with them. I know you can rush guys, you can rush pitchers up to the big leagues, but then you run into the danger of them failing early, losing confidence. And, there's a couple of clubs that have done that, have had a pitcher up from last year's draft and lost the first 3 games, and now they're going back and have doubts in their mind. So we're trying to handle it the right way. Yvonne had 300 innings, which is not a lot of innings for someone out of high school like Yvonne, but he developed quickly, had success. A lot of his poise and how he handles himself had a lot to do with it. So we have some good pitchers. Lorenzo Cain, we got a little bit of a look of Lorenzo. He's going to be a nice ball player for us, and we enjoyed seeing him up here, but he just needs to get some at bats. We got 20-some at bats to play.
All right, Doug, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Brian.
Great to visit.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks, Bill.
And we know we'll be paying close attention as the trade deadline approaches. Doug Melvin, Brewers general manager. Presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. Miller Park, Milwaukee, and the Brewers are trailing the Washington Nationals 4-1. Alcides Escobar leading off for the Brew Crew against Craig Stammen. Good to get a few minutes with Doug Melvin. Obviously, there's things he just can't talk about. But look, we're here in the final stretch before the trade deadline, and this is maybe, other than during the free agent period. This is the busiest he'll be all season right here. So
Yeah.
it's nice of him to come up and give us a few minutes and kind of give us an insight on what he's thinking. And he certainly is out there trying to make the ball club better. And his demands are high, though, considering the players that are rumored to be on the list, guys like Corey Hart and Prince Fielder.
And the baseball operations people, I mean, they have to be very careful what they say to anybody, let alone us. I mean, we're on television, but even behind the scenes, you know, it's almost like they have to talk in a cone of silence on the old Get Smart show, because, you know, the blogs, and you have all the internet, the way rumors can be spread, and sometimes that can ruin a deal.
But we always like to get Doug up here because you never know if he's just made a deal and he maybe saves it until he comes on with us. Kind of like what he did with CC Sabathia a few years back. So we're always anxious to hear from Doug Melvin. By the way, Doug Melvin and his wife Ellen, they're involved in a pink tie night here on August 9th. Actually, it's during the day, Sunday's day game, August 9th, and that'll raise a lot of money for the Susan G. Komen Foundation for Cancer. So we want to make sure we promote that, and we're looking forward to a commercial-free broadcast that benefits all of the Brewers' charitable efforts, and Doug and his wife Ellen heavily involved in it.
Yeah, breaking ball from Stammen, and Alcides Escobar able to wait back enough. One hands it out into left field, hit that one pretty well. Seems to be getting more confident every time he steps up there to the plate. I mean, it's a while before you really feel comfortable in that batter's box. You know, the baseball people will tell you it takes 1,500 at bats for a guy to really, you know, be the hitter that he's going to be throughout his career. And Escobar is still working through all that.
Narveson up there to bunt, trying to put Escobar in scoring position. The Brewers are down 4-1. A 3-run home run by Michael Morse in the second inning, and an RBI single by Ryan Zimmerman in the top of this frame. Brewers got their run in the first. Corey Hart tripled, and then Ryan Braun drove him in with a sac fly. Narveson checking the signs. Narveson's a good hitter. He's actually hitting .269 this year. He's 7 for 26 at the plate. I think Ken Maka, more than any other pitching staff at the plate, goes through these scenarios. Is it more likely that he's going to make contact here, get a base hit, or put a bunt down? Because the Brewers, quite frankly, have not been very good at dropping bunts down from their starting pitchers at the plate. Narveson squares early. And there is a bunt. Zimmerman's only play is first. That was a good bunt for Narveson. His third sacrifice, and now Escobar in the scoring position. Another reminder this week on Fox Saturday Baseball, it's the American League Central Division leading White Sox taking on the Oakland A's. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Taco Bell returns this week at 3 p.m. Central. The Oakland A's just signed their catcher Kurt Suzuki to a long-term deal. Signed a 4-year contract, so the outstanding young catcher for the Oakland Athletics is going to be in an A's uniform for a while.
Oakland A's just got over 500. 48, 47, 7.5 games behind the Rangers. And Chicago with a 2-game lead in the Central Division.
We have seen some scouts from the Oakland Athletics around the Brewers here the last couple of series. And Oakland feels like they're still kind of hanging in there a little bit right now. You know, Texas is playing good baseball in that American League West. They have a 6-game lead. Oakland is actually only a game and a half behind the Angels at this point for second place in the division. A comebacker to Stammen. And Weeks is retired. Out number 2. All right, Rock, our carsoup.com email the booth question tonight comes from Renee in Wrightstown. Do you think Ricky Weeks is the top leadoff hitter in the league?
I guess that depends on how you define leadoff hitter. Ricky Weeks is up there amongst league leaders in runs scored. Up there in home runs. He's got a very good on base percentage. He's around 375.
Well, this is what happened to Corey Hart, and the reason why Jim Edmonds is batting here.
So yes, right now I think that Ricky Weeks is the top leadoff hitter, at least in the National League right now.
Certainly the statistics bear that out. Well, not good news for the Brewers. His Hart is out. We'll try to get a report as soon as we can on that injury. It appeared to be a thumb or a wrist injury as he slammed into the retaining wall out there in right field. So Edmonds will go the rest of the way in right. You can almost feel the cellular telephone action here of all the scouts that are watching Corey Hart being taken out of his game and calling their respective general managers.
Yeah, I mean, one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball since mid-May. So you can't afford to have him out of the lineup for any extended period of time.
Escobar at second. Edmonds has actually been swinging a very hot bat, but the numbers don't necessarily show it. Edmonds was 0 for 4 yesterday, and you could say probably the toughest luck of any hitter in any particular game. He hit 4 missiles that all ended up as outs.
That could have easily been 4 for 4. But that's the way it goes sometimes. All you can do is hit the ball hard. You really can't guide it where you want it exactly. You can shoot it to left, but you can't do much more than that.
Well, he's saying went. Mark Wegner raises the thumb on Edmonds, and Edmonds saying not even close. You be the judge.
That could have gone either way.
So much for the black bat theory from Jim Gantner.
It's not nighttime yet.
Oh, yeah, good point. So you only break out the black bat when it's completely under the lights, I guess.
If you're Jim Gantner.
And Edmonds strikes out, and the inning is over. So the Brewers strand a runner in scoring position. And we head to the fourth. It's 4-1 Washington. game in right field in our AT&T trivia. Since 1998, how many ballparks have the Brewers and Nationals, who were formerly known as the Expos, matched up in? How many ballparks?
Trick question. I'm going to tell you it's a trick question.
All right. They've been known down on the truck to do that. Narveson needs a scoreless inning. The Nationals lead 4-1. 4 runs on 4 hits. And the man who put 3 on the board with 1 swing of the bat, Michael Morse, leads off this 4th inning for the Nats. Three balls, no strikes on Morse. Morse comes in hitting .324 with now 5 home runs and 15 driven in. Just 75 at bats this year. That one is well hit deep left center, and that baseball is gone way out of here. So Michael Morse is having some kind of night. He makes it 5-1 Washington with his 2nd home run of the game.
And Narvi falling behind Morse on a 3-1 pitch, gave him a fastball and knocked it out of here into center field. A little bit further up out over the plate than the ball that Morse hit out his first time up. That was more down and in, golfing it out of here. That pitch ended up down the middle and up on the concourse out there in center field.
2-homer game for Mike Morse.
Chris Narveson a bit wild tonight. He has not walked a batter, but he's wild in the strike zone, getting too much of the plate.
Well, Morse has been on the disabled list with a calf strain, and he's come back banging away here against the Brewers. Now Pudge Rodriguez singles. And a rough night brewing for Chris Narveson. Already 5 runs in on 6 hits, and we're only in the 4th.
We have 55 pitches so far, and still nobody out in the 4th inning. He's getting a little bit too much of the plate. Everything up in his zone. A lot of the white of the plate. And the Nationals taking advantage of it.
Ian Desmond now for the Nationals. On the inside corner, 1-1.
Yeah, that's where he's wanted that cut fastball all night. Hadn't been able to put it there. In on the hands of that right-handed hitter. He's been leaving him out over the plate.
Well, legendary Brewers play-by-play announcer Bob Uecker made his return to the radio booth tonight. You can log on to foxsportswisconsin.com. Click on the Brewers tab for complete coverage of Uecker's return. You'll see part of his press conference on there that we recorded and posted on the web at foxsportswisconsin.com. Well, if this club could use anything right now, it's a good belly laugh, and the perfect man to deliver a laugh like that is right next door.
Yeah. And a couple of get up, get out of here goings with the Brewers at the plate. That'd help too. With some men on base.
Well, Desmond struck out his last time up. Narveson could use a ground ball here. Brewers finding themselves in a hole early, which has been a theme here lately. Much too often in the last few days. Gallardo was terrific yesterday for Milwaukee. 6 shutout innings. But, Randy Wolf giving up 12 earned runs on Wednesday. Dave Bush surrendered 9 runs in the first inning against the Pirates on Tuesday. Tough to play catch up when you're that deep in the hole.
And the issue has been the same for all three of them, including Arvidsson tonight, and that's pitches up in the zone, getting too much to the plate upstairs, and major league hitters are going to get pretty good swings on pitches like that. You can get the plate, you can get too much of the plate. As long as you're down around the knees, you can get away with it.
A lot of deep counts tonight. Narveson had a 6-pitch first inning. This is his next pitch will be number 63. Still nobody out here in the fourth. It's a lot of pitches per inning after the first. Full count to Desmond, batting 8th in his Nationals lineup.
How good was he last night? My goodness. Curveball was good. He threw a few more change-up. His fastball, as Doug Melvin was talking about, 95 a few times last night. Haven't seen that from Yo since he's been in the big leagues. Maybe that 2 weeks helped him.
There's a swing and a miss, and Desmond is down on strikes. He threw him a 3-2 curveball. And for the second time, Narveson strikes out Ian Desmond. That's the first out of the fourth inning.
Yeah, there's the curveball. That's where you want it, right there. Even on a 3-2 pitch, an aggressive hitter. Even if he hits it, he's not going to do much with it. Not when it's down around the shoot tops like that.
Well, now a ground ball could get Narveson out of the inning if the Brewers can turn it up. Stammen, a good hitting pitcher with 8 hits this year. He is 8 for 30 at the plate. That's a .267 batting average. A couple of pitchers tonight who swing the bats pretty well. Not just a routine out at the plate.
Stammen not used to getting this kind of run support. I don't think he knows what to do. Gave up 1 run his last time out and lost. Nationals were shut out. Already 5 runs on the board for Washington.
Stammen squares and takes a ball. Long road trip for the Nationals through Florida, Cincinnati, and Milwaukee. And the final meeting between these two teams this year. These two teams squared off early as Narveson deals strike 2 into Stammen. Brewers and the Nationals had an historic game earlier this season when Milwaukee scored 10 runs in the first inning and ended up having to hang on with all they had to win that game. Little bouncer. Narveson, his only play is first. It works just like a bunt. Stammen is retired, and that's out number 2.
Yeah, Brewers had a 10-0 lead in that game, and in the 7th inning, the Nationals brought the tying run to the plate. Hey, the Brewers are competing with other major league clubs for a $200,000 Pepsi Refresh grant. That would use those dollars to build Milwaukee's first Miracle League baseball field for children with diabetes or disabilities. They can only make it happen with your vote. Go to MLB.com/Pepsi Refresh and vote for the Brewers Project, or text Brewers to 76462. Not diabetes, disabilities.
It's going to be a great venture, the Miracle League. I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes together. Top of the order, Nyjer Morgan. A run is in on a home run by Morse, his second homer of the game. Narveson trying to quicken this pace a little bit. Been deep in a lot of counts. The Nationals have 5 runs already. The tempo of the game, and the starting pitcher bears that burden each and every night.
Yep, that's where the momentum comes from. And Chris Narveson gave the Brewers some momentum in the first inning. A 6-pitch, top of the first. The Brewers able to get a run, but the momentum is in that other dugout right now.
And you can tell Narveson just not on his A game tonight. He's fighting with his command. Morgan, a little fly ball to left. Braun is right there. And the inning is over. But Michael Morse homers again. His second of the night. Has 4 RBIs.
Crew in the community. Tomorrow night, fans will have the opportunity to donate $40 in exchange for a mystery bag, which will contain a baseball autographed by a Brewers player or coach. Brewers' wives will be stationed at tables throughout the ballpark selling the mystery bags until they're gone, and the proceeds will benefit the Brewers Community Foundation in support of America's Second Harvest of Southeast Wisconsin.
Hey, good job, the Brewers' wives, putting together a great cause. Looking forward to that tomorrow. Michael Morse has been the story in this game. 2 home runs that has the Nationals on top 5-1. Morse has driven in 4 of those 5 runs. And the Brewers in need of a comeback as Ryan Braun takes strike 1 from Craig Stammen. Braun, Fielder, and McGee due up here in the 4th. As the Brewers throw back to their late 90s uniforms. 40th anniversary season. Braun drove in the only Brewers run in the first, a sacrifice fly and an RBI. It scored Corey Hart, who tripled. Hart slid into the wall back in the 3rd inning and injured his hand. We still do not have a report just yet on Corey Hart, but he was taken out of this game, replaced by Jim Edmonds. Dunn gives chase, and that one's going to end up in the seats.
You know, Craig Stammen has been known
in his career for a guy that throws a lot of ground ball outs. He's got one of the better ground ball to fly ball ratios in the National League. But tonight he hasn't thrown too many. There's only been a couple of ground ball outs, everything else in the air. If he had enough innings to qualify, which he doesn't, he would rank 5th in that category in the National League. But the Brewers have been able to elevate the baseball, but haven't had much to show for it.
Nice pickup by Zimmerman. And Braun is out. First out of the 4th inning. Our AT&T trivia tonight. Since '98, how many ballparks have the Brewers and Nationals matched up in? Even going back to the Nationals franchise as the Montreal Expos, and the answer is 6.
Yeah. Olympic Stadium, RFK, Nationals Park, County Stadium, Miller Park, and Hiram Bithorn Stadium.
That's down in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
That ballpark was used this year, as a matter of fact, between the Mets and the Marlins. As baseball continues to expand its borders, playing baseball down in Puerto Rico.
That was the trick question part of it right there.
You were on it. You were there.
The 3-game series in Puerto Rico. Yeah. A lot of car horns going off throughout the game.
I'll tell you what, the Mets have not been the same since they got back from that trip to Puerto Rico.
Right.
Jerry Manuel saying that trip took a lot out of his ball club. It was very hot down there, and of course the Mets are the favorite team in Puerto Rico. Bouncing ball to Dunn. And Fielder is retired.
And on cue, after talking about not a lot of ground ball outs, the first 2 in the inning on the ground. That away, Craig.
Well, Stammen statistically used his fastball a lot more last year than he has this season. Over 70% of his pitches were fastballs last year. Because of that sinker, he just got a lot of ground balls. So this year he's only throwing the fastball a little over 56% of the time.
A little slider he's flipping up there, an occasional change up to a left-hander.
So more breaking balls typically results in more pop-ups or fly ball outs as you get hitters out in front.
Well, if you have that good sinker, ordinarily you have a good sinker because you keep it down in the strike zone. Curveballs, sliders, change-ups more apt to stay up in the zone. That's where you get your fly balls. You give up some homers.
Stammen gave up a run in the first. He's given up a lot of runs in the first inning this year, but he's settled down since. There's a breaking ball that missed low. Stammen only 26 years of age. It's from Coldwater, Ohio. The Nationals are hoping, they are starting to assemble a quality starting rotation. Stammen is in the plans. He's had a rough year, kind of an up and down year this year. He's been good at times, but he's also given up a lot of earned runs in particular starts.
Yeah, he's had 2 blow-up starts this year. One early in the season, an inning in the 3rd, he gave up 7 runs. And then a couple of starts ago, he got hit around pretty good.
Well, on 2 occasions this year, he's given up 7 earned runs in a start. This is his first matchup against the Brewers this year. He's only given up 1 so far on 2 hits. The Nationals are getting a great season from Livan Hernandez, who has 14 quality starts this season. Hernandez won yesterday against the Reds.
Yeah, 7-6 with a .312 earned run average. It should be a lot better than that. The record, I mean. 20 starts.
Little cue shot, and Dunn will scoop it up. Takes it to the bag, and that is the side. So the Brewers go in order 1, 2, 3. And we head to the 5th at Miller Park.
Corey Hart got things going tonight and tripled down the right field line, he would come around to score the game's first run on a sac fly from Ryan Braun. So a good start to the night for the Brewers, but it's been the Mike Morse show for the Nationals. A couple of home runs, a 3-run shot. That home run coming in the second inning, and then a solo shot in the fourth. 5-1 Nationals.
Morse with 4 RBIs. Corey Hart out of this game. He left in the third inning after sliding into the wall down the right field line we showed you. There you see the Cousins Subs game reset. 5-1 Nationals here in the fifth. Narveson still out there and trying to put up a 0. Nationals have scored in the last 3 innings. Oh, Ricky Weeks brings one down. Doing it with his glove here in the 5th inning, robbing Guzman of a base hit.
Yeah, he's been the complete player, turning into the player that the Brewers thought they had when they signed him. He's healthy now and really doing a nice job, able to grab that one, a perfectly timed leap going back, and grabs Guzman of a base hit. Well done, Ricky Weeks.
The athletic Brewers second baseman, not just with his bat, but with his glove as well. He's having his best season of his career. Ryan Zimmerman. RBI single his last time up. Drove in the 4th Nationals run. He's the only National with an RBI other than Morse. Well, Zimmerman putting together another terrific season. He is the face of their franchise in D.C. A curveball strike, a dandy. 1-2 the count.
There's the guy you have to crowd with a fastball, but you better get it in there because he's big. He likes to get those arms extended and is very good at hitting the ball to the opposite field, right center power. And that one right at the bottom of the strike zone.
Nationals have 2 Zimmermans, Ryan and Jordan. Jordan from Wisconsin is on his way back from an injury, and they feel like Jordan Zimmerman is going to be a big lift to their starting rotation when he returns. Well, we've got an injury update on Corey Hart. Let's send it down to Drew Olson.
Well, guys, Corey Hart had an X-ray on his right wrist, which he injured when he collided with a wall. The X-rays were negative. He will undergo an MRI tomorrow to determine the severity of the injury, but probably reasonable to expect that he may miss tomorrow's game.
Yeah, the Brewers will be very cautious. Hart crashing into that wall, and that is a significant loss for Milwaukee. Line drive to center. Gomez makes the play for out number 2.
He has been so good for so long, Corey Hart. That's going to be a big hole in that Brewer lineup. Doing a nice job in the number 2 spot. I'll tell you, top 5 for the Brewers have been pretty good. When you look at the complete body of work for the whole season, there's been some ups and downs for all of them, but that top 5 in the batting order has been very good for Ken Maka this year. And very rarely do they sit out.
Here's Dunn. Not even the batter's box big enough to hold big Adam Dunn. A little bit of an open stance. Much more open than in years past.
It doesn't stay that way, though. That's why you pitch him inside. One of the biggest guess hitters that there is in baseball, even with 2 strikes. He'll go up there, look for a certain pitch in a certain spot, and even with 2 strikes, he'll sit there and watch one until he gets it.
That man can fill up a batter's box. 6'6", 285 is Adam Dunn. Just a perennial 40-homer, 100 RBI hitter. Seems like year after year after year. Waves and foul tips that one off of Lucroy behind the plate.
Dunn's been hard on Jonathan Lucroy. Dunn got hit by a pitch. It glanced off that big arm and got Lucroy in the leg. And this one a foul tip. Look if you dare.
He's going to need a minute.
Kind of mean to do it in super slow motion.
This is when you're hoping for a pop-up.
If you're catching right now, you're just hoping that Dunn doesn't squibble in front of you. You have to bounce out there and grab it because you're not going to be able to do it. With all the run production that Adam Dunn's been able to put up in his career, he's always walked a lot and struck out a ton.
Pretty much makes up his mind what pitch he's looking for. And he'll sit there all day until he gets it.
He's already struck out 120 times this year.
So 3 times he has led the league in strikeouts.
But nobody cares as long as he hits the home runs. He's got 23 of them, 61 ribbies. Struck out 198 times one year.
Well, he had 5 straight years of 40 home runs. Hit 38 last year. He pulls that one foul.
Talking about trading deadline rumors, this is a guy that has been in the middle of that every year of his career.
He would be the go-to guy on how to deal with trade deadline talk.
Every year in Cincinnati when he was with the Reds.
Well, playing first base these days with the Nationals. They used him a little bit in the outfield last year. Fly ball, long run for Braun, but he is there, and he makes a catch to win the inning. So a 3-up, 3-down inning for Narveson. See if the Brewer bats can get him back into this game. The Brewers throw back to their 1990s retro uniforms here and open for some offense as they trail by 4.
And tonight's Tavern game winner is Brewers Center Tavern in Albany. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 tickets in the Miller Lite beer pen. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Jonathan Lucroy will lead off. And Lucroy so far tonight is 0 for 1. Stammen has given up just 2 hits. The Brewers got a run in the first inning after Hart tripled. Braun drove him in with a sac fly. That's been it offensively. Escobar has the only other hit. That was a leadoff single in the 3rd. So the Cubs beat the Cardinals today. Randy Wells went 7 shutout. And a 5-0 Cubs win at home against St. Louis. The front-running Cardinals in the National League Central. They open the day with a 1.5 lead over the Reds. Nationals beat the Reds in back-to-back games on their last trip through Cincinnati, yesterday and Wednesday.
Cubs a game under 500 at Wrigley Field. That's unusual. They've always had very good records at Wrigley. Not this year. Supposedly Lou Piniella's last year in Chicago.
He said he's hanging him up at the end of the season as Lucroy goes deep to right. Back is Morse with room for the out. And Lucroy is retired. Fox Sports Wisconsin Outdoor showcases the ultimate in outdoor programming. Every Saturday and Sunday morning, experience everything from the pursuit of fish and game to exploring the best weekend destinations. Fox Sports Wisconsin Outdoors, presented by Menards. Saturdays at 6 a.m. and Sundays at 8 a.m. only on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Speaking of fishing, Lake Michigan, salmon fishing for Uke. Talking to Uke, he hasn't been out yet. Can understand why. Uke goes out on the boat. You know, game day, he'll get up early, go out and fish, and bring some salmon into the ballpark. I'm sure he shared some with you.
Oh, absolutely. Fire up a little salmon on the grill. Steve Lizotte cooks it up.
You have a grill now. You can do it yourself.
Oh yeah, he brought me a package the other day. My first Milwaukee grill. I haven't quite found the opportunity to use it yet.
I bet your neighbor's disappointed you don't be pushing his grill over to your house.
Yeah, nobody does that.
You'd be better off cooking at his house, wouldn't you?
And walking it over. You lose a few cool points on the old man grid when you start rolling your neighbor's grill across the driveway.
Yeah. And then forget to roll it back.
Yeah, nobody would do well. Make your wife take it back. Nobody would do that. Into center field, and a routine fly ball for Nyjer Morgan. 2 outs.
But you know, you get the salmon fillet, you put some aluminum foil, some butter, some lemon, some onions, and wrap it up, put it on the grill, you're ready to go.
How long?
15 minutes.
What's the cook time?
15 minutes tops. But I would recommend you double up on the aluminum foil.
You like fish in the foil on the grill as opposed to the...
It's just one way to do it.
Right.
Doesn't stick that way. It's one way.
Because that's the challenge.
Right.
Many of you might not know that Bill Schroeder is a grill master. He's a world famous grill master.
Yeah.
And we always look forward every year to Bill's time on the grill when he cooks for all of us at the truck, out by the truck for our crew. But we always do it on the last day of a homestand because we certainly don't want to put anybody out for any home games.
No.
You never know what might go on. I can't remember. Are you you like the Brats? As we see Alcides Escobar, his first career home run rock was against the Washington Nationals.
Yes, it was. Right down the line in National Stadium. Last year, August of last year.
Escobar has 2 home runs this year.
You were going to ask me about the pre-cooked brats?
No, I was going to ask you, are you when you go for the brats, do you go into the beer before or after?
After. You get the pre-cook. I think the Clemens pre-cooks are the best.
Bouncing ball. What a play here by Desmond. The throw, and it cannot be dug out by Adam Dunn. Desmond showing great range at short, but Escobar able to beat it out.
Yeah, Desmond with 22 errors at shortstop this year. One of the reasons why the Nationals are next to last in fielding percentage in the National League.
That'll be an infield hit for Escobar, who has 2 hits in this game.
Yeah, decent throw, and Escobar's out easily. 22 errors for Desmond. Zimmerman with 10. Christian Guzman at second base with 9.
Well, the Nationals feel like Desmond is a potential Gold Glove caliber shortstop. He's only in his 2nd year, and maybe a few more risks than he needs to take with all those errors.
Well, he knew he had to be quick to get rid of the baseball with Escobar getting down the line, but it was hit so hard he actually had a little bit more time to set himself and make a good throw. Escobar will take the hit, though.
Last time up, Narveson dropped down a sacrifice bunt. Brewers were unable to cash in with a runner at 2nd and 1 out.
Nationals not holding Escobar on, knowing that he's probably not going to run with the pitcher up. And even if he does steal the base, they don't mind because the pitcher's up.
He takes off, and Rodriguez doesn't bother with a throw.
That will be a stolen base, though. Adam Dunn was close enough to the bag, actually keeping Escobar close. And with a big jump, he gets a stolen base. They didn't give him a stolen base.
They say no stolen base.
In the 5th inning.
I think it's a stolen base.
Of a 4-run game.
But ruled defensive indifference.
Well, it wasn't indifference because Adam Dunn wasn't positioned where he is right now. He was actually trying to hold him close. And then he stole the bat. That's a stolen base. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's going to get changed. Now, if Adam Dunn was positioning himself where he is now, then I would agree. It's indifference, but with a 4-run lead in the 5th inning, that's a stolen base.
Escobar at 2nd. See if Narveson can help his own cause here. A base hit. The Brewers will whittle away at the deficit, which is at 4 right now. Narveson does have a couple of RBIs this year. Pickup from Pudge Rodriguez keeps Escobar at 2nd.
Now, if Rodriguez threw that baseball just to make a throw, it would have been a stolen base, right? So I guess back in my career, I should have known that. If I just don't throw, it's not a stolen base.
You don't throw it. Just act like you're indifferent.
I'm indifferent. I don't care if you steal it. Steal 3rd, too. I don't care.
I don't know. Schroeder didn't look like he really cared if he stole a base. Let's go ahead and not call it a stolen base. That's not a bad strategy, I got to be honest. There's a broken bat base hit, and here comes Escobar.
Well, are they indifferent now?
Narveson drives in a run, and it is 5-2 Washington. Chris Narveson with his 3rd RBI of the season.
Well, the stolen base actually comes around to score on the Narveson base hit. Good job by Chris. Breaks his bat. Able to fight it off into center field. Got it down on the end. Nothing but the handle left, but it died happy. An RBI for Narveson.
And it turns the lineup over. Now the Brewers, their 3rd time through the batting order. Open for a quick strike here from some home run hitters coming up.
Oh, now it's 5-2. That's what you call a gift run right there.
A 2-out infield hit. Escobar advances to 2nd base and then scores on the broken bat single. And now Weeks can bring it to within 1 with a long ball here. Yeah, he took a cut at it.
See where Adam Dunn is right now? That's where he was the whole time Escobar was taking his lead. Now, Dunn's going to start there with Narvis and then back off. He wasn't doing that with Escobar on first.
Now, if Narveson takes off and ends up at second, I could see defensive indifference.
Well, it's got to be if the one on Escobar was.
And Weeks lays off. Well, this crowd here at Miller Park, it has been quiet to this point. Not much to cheer about since the first inning. But you can start to sense the revving of the engines a little bit. If Weeks can get something going here and bring Edmonds to the plate. Five to 2 Nationals. And the 2-1 to Weeks. Outside, ball 3. That's the other part of Ricky's game. He has great power, but he has shown a very good eye this year. On base percentage at .374. The Nationals get their bullpen active. The hitters count for Ricky Weeks. 0 for 2 tonight. A strikeout and a ground out. Coming inside on Ricky. And he takes ball 4. And the tying run will come to the plate near the 5th inning. 3 consecutive base runners, 2 hits and a walk. Sean Burnett getting loose as fast as he can.
Getting ready for Prince. Don't know he's going to be able to get ready in time for Edmonds.
Edmonds came into the game for Corey Hart. Hart left this game with an injury. A wrist injury. X-rays came up negative. Hart will have an MRI on that wrist tomorrow. This is Edmonds' second plate appearance. He struck out his last time up. 2 on, 2 out. Edmonds has been driving the ball to the opposite field lately. Hit a mammoth home run into deep left center field in Pittsburgh a couple of nights ago.
Yep, outfield deep, and Nigel Morgan in center shaded a little bit toward left.
Edmonds with a flare, falling fast, and it's down for a base hit. Here comes Narveson. He will score. It's 5-3 Washington. The Brewers are chipping away here in the 5th inning.
How about that? Bottom of the order getting it done. Back-to-back singles. And now Jim Edmonds able to get one off the end of the bat, a fastball, out away from him, and just on cue. We were talking about Edmonds' ability to go to left field. Able to dump one in front of Willingham, who, as we said, was playing deep in the outfield, protecting against the extra base hit. A little bit too early in the game to be doing that, playing no doubles. But that's what they did, and it cost them a run.
Steve McCaddy is the Nationals pitching coach. And a quick trip to the mound visiting with Craig Stammen. The Brewers have the tying run on. They'll have the go-ahead run coming to the plate in Ryan Braun. Jim Edmonds 1 for 2 tonight. And that second spot in the batting order, producing a triple and an RBI single thus far.
We've been talking about, the RBIs for Ricky Weeks and Corey Hart this year. They don't get them if the bottom of the order is not getting on base, which they have indeed been, including the pitchers this year. That's the only way your number 1 and 2 hitters in the order can have the run production that those two have had.
See if Braun can keep it going here in the 5th. 4 consecutive base runners, 3 hits and a walk. Ryan with an RBI tonight. He's 0 for 1. Started him with a breaking ball. Braun out in front. Now, Jim Edmonds over at first, still not running at 100%. He has an Achilles injury. So it'll be tough for him to score on a ball through the gap or down the line. Braun would love him to give him a chance to jog around.
Trying to stay away from Ryan. Back-to-back sliders. Ryan's been chasing that breaking ball off the outside corner.
Was 7 for 35 on the road trip, but he did drive in 5 runs, had a couple of home runs. 1-1, and Braun chases. That has been a nemesis pitch. Braun has done damage with pitches in the strike zone. He has had some issues, though, with that strike zone discipline.
Yeah, that pitch right there, the one he just swung at. Stammen still hadn't thrown him a strike in his at bat.
And is ahead, a ball and 2 strikes. Prince Fielder would be next. Braun trying to get him a shot at Stammen here in this 5th inning. 2 runs are in, 2 on with 2 out. And Braun strikes out. He chased again. Inning is over. 2 left. The Brewers do get a pair, and it's a ball game again. It's 5-3 Washington. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery and its family of instant scratch games. Odds are you'll like them. And by Airtran. Go, there's nothing stopping you.
Well, come out to Miller Park tomorrow as the Brewers and Nationals hook up for Game 2 at 6:10 p.m. The first 15,000 fans 21 and older will get a Brewers Miller Lite Grill Master apron. That's compliments of Miller Lite. For tickets, call 414-902-4000.
It's like a grill theme tonight. Bill's Grill. The private Bill's Grill lessons these days.
Yeah.
Always entertaining. Bullpen is active. Tyler Clippert is loosening. 5-3. The Brewers get 2 in the bottom of the 5th, and they pull within 2. Josh Willingham leads off. Narveson still out there working in the 6th inning. Gave up a 3-run home run in the 2nd. Zimmerman drove in a run in the 3rd inning, and it was Mike Morse, his 2nd home run of the game in the 4th, representing the 5 Washington runs. Morse had 4 homers to start the day, now has 6. And he's driven in 4 runs.
Yeah, the 2 scoreless innings for Narveson have been 3 up, 3 down innings.
Just missed inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Josh Willingham. There's Michael Morse on deck. Wouldn't bite on the changeup.
That's where you want to try to get him. Pitch him away. Him and the guy on deck. Both of them have been pretty good middle in tonight.
Got him. Dale Scott rings him up. Willingham.
He's looking away with 2 strikes. Pretty dangerous. It's the only way you don't swing at that pitch. A very good pitch to hit.
Michael Morse, 2 homers tonight. His first career multi-homer game. Had some calf issues. Knocked him out for most of the spring. And only 75 at-bats in the big leagues this year. Coming back from that injury. 2 home runs here tonight. 4 RBIs. He's a guy who can play all over. Plays a little third base, first base, corner outfield spots. When he was coming through the minor leagues, the one comparison that he drew was to Corey Hart. Hart just established in the big leagues at the time, and Morse coming up in the Mariners system.
Big guy, long arms. He can run a little bit. Pretty good arm in the outfield.
Big cut. 2-1 the count on Morse. A lot of injuries throughout his career. Michael Morse. .100 pitches for Narveson. Michael Morse was actually drafted as a shortstop at 6 feet 5 inches. Out to short. Here's Escobar. 2 gone. So important for Narveson to post a shutdown inning here after the Brewers scored twice in the 5th.
Yeah, Casey McGee and Northwestern Mutual invite you to drop off non-perishable food today through Sunday during the Brewers Drive for Charity. Get a Casey McGee pin with every donation. For details, call 414-902-4000.
What do we got there, Rock?
The moon.
What kind of Gilbus?
Little haze.
The purple haze?
A waxing gibbous. It will become a full moon.
Always interesting. Rodriguez out to second. There's Weeks. And a 3-up, 3-down inning for Chris Narveson. See if the Brewers can keep it going here. They're down a pair. Fielder leads off when we come back.
Brought to you by the new Miller Lite Vortex bottle. Taste greatness. By Toyota. Thank you for standing by us. For more information, visit buyatoyota.com. And by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com, grab your bag. It's on.
Back at Miller Park, and a couple of runs for the Brewers in the 5th inning has injected a little life, or possibly it could have been the sausage race. Either way, a little buzz in the ballpark here as the sausages do their thing. Bratwurst having a good night tonight. That away.
Hot dog, not much of an effort tonight.
No. I think he must have gotten in late last night as well.
Yeah, I didn't see him on the charter, though.
Tyler Clippard is in. Rock. Craig Stammen is out after 5 innings and in line for the win. He turns it over to his bullpen. Clippard making his 48th appearance of the season. A lot of games.
Yeah, good earned run average. Look at his strikeouts, 62 of them in just shy of 57 innings. And a .218 opponent batting average. He's having a good season.
Prince Fielder leads off, and a changeup from Clippard. Pulled a couple of strings on him that time. Clippard is among league leaders in games pitched. He is now 5th in the league in appearances. This is his 48th of the season. Another changeup.
Yeah, got a very good circle changeup. It's his best pitch. And of course, when Prince Fielder's at the plate, he's going to see the changeup every time. Decent fastball. And a curveball. You can get it up there in the low 90s.
Comes back with the heater, and Fielder fouls it back. Well, Prince, the National League leader in home runs to start the day. He's one ahead of Adam Dunn. Fielder with 24 home runs. Joey Votto and Adam Dunn with 23. And he chased one. Down goes Prince. Seen Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder go out of the strike zone a little bit here in this game tonight.
Yeah, the fastball set up by back-to-back circle changes. He's got a good one. That changeup will go down and away to a lefty. About 82 miles an hour, and then he'll elevate the fastball at 93 that time.
So 1 out. Here's Casey McGee. Well, Casey lined out his first time up. A little soft liner out to second base, and then he grounded out to first. 0 for 2. Looks like he's having some trouble with his vision. Lucroy will be next.
Casey didn't start last night, but he did come in and pinch hit late in the ball game and
turned around a 99-mile-an-hour fastball from Joel Hanrahan for a base hit.
That was impressive. I was talking to Casey about that. He said he's looking for it, and not many guys can get a high fastball at that velocity and turn it around coming off the bench. But Casey, pretty good fastball hitter.
Spreads out wide in that box. Casey, when he talks about hitting, he says the key is not to swing hard, but to swing fast.
Quick, not big. That's how you hit high fastballs.
Hitting coach Dale Swain. 3-0. That one's in there for a strike.
Yep, Dale has 12 hitters, all with different styles, all have different things that they have to concentrate on, different adjustments that they have to make. Oh, and he throws batting practice like 3 times a day.
Throws at least 500 pitches a day.
No pitch counts for the hitting coach.
They don't call him the android for nothing.
Yeah, Eddie Cedar throws every day. Willie's throwing again. Brad Fisher, you notice Brad Fisher throwing to the pitchers?
I saw that. He's back.
Yeah.
He's overcome some mental roadblocks to be able to throw batting practice.
Yeah.
Had a little Steve Sack syndrome there for a while.
He's back at it.
Must have drilled somebody. Unlike my partner who drilled Mike Cameron and was unfazed by the whole thing. Just kept throwing BP.
That's because Mike Cameron was unfazed by it.
McGee draws a walk. Close pitch, but Casey is aboard. So the Brewers will bring the tying run to the plate. Our Miller Lite, what's on tap? We're on WMLW tomorrow night. 6 o'clock is their time. 6:10 first pitch. Brewers and the Nationals Monday, or rather Sunday, back on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Then Monday the Reds are here. Again on Fox Sports Wisconsin against Cincinnati. Anxious to see the Reds again. It's been a while since we saw them last, but the Reds at this point are a game back of the St. Louis Cardinals in the National League Central.
Only played the Reds twice in Cincinnati. That's it. And we're almost in August.
Reds are in Houston tonight, and that game is all tied at 4 in the 7th inning. Talk about pitching. Boy, the Reds, they go plenty deep in their starting rotation. Now they even have a couple of starters in their bullpen. You see Cameron Lowe getting loose.
Yep, Volquez back.
Well, Volquez coming back from Tommy John ligament replacement surgery. That's like a mid-season trade right there. That's a big acquisition for Walt Jocketty and the Reds, coming right off their disabled list. You got Mike Leake, the terrific rookie. Harang, Arroyo's having another good year.
Yeah, Cincinnati in that ballpark, you talk about a bandbox, Great American Ballpark. They've got a team earned run average of 4.17. That's not too bad.
It's impressive. They have another young rookie named Travis Wood, who's actually going to pitch here in Milwaukee, who has made quite a name for himself early in the career of Travis Wood. Tying run at the plate. 5-3 Nationals. Lucroy with a 1-1 count and a swing and a miss. Ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, Clipper just keeps rocking the boat. Velocity, a little bit on, take a little off. Change ups, fastballs, 92 to 82 miles an hour. You don't have to have wicked movement if you keep the ball down and you change speeds like that. And you have good arm action on it. Make that change up look like a fastball.
He has a bit of an unusual move right before he throws the pitch. That lead arm goes high over his head. Has to be a bit of a distraction for a hitter.
When he lifts the arm up like that and stays on top, it's a fairly straight fastball, not a lot of movement on it. But he works everything off that changeup.
Lucroy fouls another one off. Clippard has given up 4 home runs this season. He had a great year last year out of that Nationals bullpen. Had a 2.69 ERA with Tyler Clippard. Came to the Nationals from the Yankees. After the 07 season, the Yankees traded him to Washington. One and two. Lucroy hanging tough. Lucroy off the end of the bat. Long run for Willingham. Desmond on the run as well. Willingham is there. And it's out number 2.
You see how far Desmond got out there? Boy, he was on his horse thinking that Willingham wasn't going to be able to get there. Actually ended up out there in left field, fairly deep left field down the line. But Willingham able to get there. They had him shaded out, did Lucroy. They had Lucroy shaded toward the gap out in left center. Willingham had a long way to go. Fairly routine play, but look at Desmond right next to him.
Willingham says, "What are you doing out here? I got this."
Yeah. Making me look bad.
Here's Carlos Gomez. Gomez into center field. That is going to get down. It's going to go to the wall. Here comes McGee around third. He'll score. Gomez into third. Safe with a triple. It is 5-4 Washington as Gomez delivers an RBI.
Right, Gomez starting to swing the bat pretty well. Got a couple of big hits in Pittsburgh that kept rallies going and was able to score on some homers. And check this one out. A fastball in. Out over the plate, but in. And able to find the gap. Roger Morgan not able to get there. He was shaded around toward right field. Gets into that corner down there, and there is no way he's going to stay out away from third base. He actually gets in there standing up. And a big 2-out triple, the second of the night for the Brewers. And the Brewers within one.
Digging for third. That was a great shot. Gomez with his third triple of the year. McGee scores all the way from first. And the Brewers are within a run. A base hit will tie it here. And Escobar deep into left field. Willingham is on the run. Can't get it. It's off the wall. We are tied. Escobar with a double. His third hit of the game. And it's all even at 5 apiece.
Escobar with 2 hits last night. He's got 5 hits in 2 games. And some good 2-out hitting by the Brewers. Goodness. Well, it was 2-out base hits in the 5th that got the Brewers 2 runs, and 2 2-out hits in the 6th to get 2 runs. So good situational hitting for Milwaukee. And the bottom of the order is swinging the bats pretty well.
And that is going to do it for Tyler Clippard. We'll take a timeout. We've got a double switch coming up. We'll set it all up when we continue. All tied at 5 at Miller Park. Pitcher is Sean Burnett, the left-hander. He is on to pitch, knowing that the Brewers have left-handed bats on their bench. And with Joe Inglet announced, Sean Burnett will come on and face the Brewers pinch hitter. New right fielder is Roger Bernardina. So the double switch for Jim Riggleman. Chance to take the lead here. The Brewers have 2 in. An RBI triple by Gomez scored McGee, and then an RBI double by Escobar to tie this game. And it's going to be Joe Inglet. And after all of that, a chance for Inglet to give Narveson an opportunity at a victory here in this game. Narveson is out. He goes 6 innings, gives up 5 earned runs, and has a chance to win. Inglet has been the best pinch hitter off Ken Macha's bench this season.
And Burnett throughout his career has been very good getting left-handed batters out, but he's having a little bit of a tough time this year.
The lefty's hitting .302 against Sean Burnett. And Inglet as a pinch hitter at .293. It's one of the reasons why the Brewers continue to have basically exclusive left-handed hitters off their bench, because the lefties, Inglet and Counsell, have had so much success coming off the bench. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah. Those two guys have been terrific.
Inglet looking for his first hit against a lefty. 2 balls, no strikes. There's a fastball in there. Joe Inglet leads the major leagues in pinch hits with 12 this season. Up there at a big spot with 2 away. A bouncing ball. That is a foul ball, says the first base umpire, Vic Carapazza. Milwaukee had the first lead tonight, a run in the first inning on a Braun sac fly. And then the Nationals ripped off 5 unanswered. A 3-run homer in the second by Morse. RBI single by Zimmerman in the third, and then Morse hit another home run in the fourth. 5-1 Washington after 4 innings. But back-to-back 2-run innings, and we're all square once again. And Inglet a chance to give the Brewers the lead. Cut of the miss, down he goes. So the inning is over, but the Brewers get 2 on 2 hits. Big production from the bottom of the order. All tied at 5.
Forward John Brockman. John, welcome to Milwaukee. What has this last 24 hours been like for you?
It was a little wet coming in last night, but it's a great city. I've had a great time. I've just been shuffled off from place to place, but I'm going to really like it here.
Your general manager, John Hammond, said he expects energy and toughness out of you. Now, what does that mean? Can we expect you to take more charges than Andrew Bogut this year?
That's my goal. Trying to take more charges than anyone, dive on the floor more than anyone, dive in the stands more than anyone. I just play 110% all the time, and I have fun out there.
Now, your college coach, Lorenzo Romar, played for the Bucks. What did he tell you about our city?
He just said it's a great place. Great fans, great atmosphere. It's just a great place to live and a great place to play basketball.
Rock and BA, you can follow John on Twitter, but he's got to change his page because it still has Sacramento colors on it. He's going to take care of that as soon as he gets home.
Yeah, he's with the Kings last year out of Washington, the Husky. John Brockman, welcome to Milwaukee. He is a Scott Skiles kind of guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
diving in the stands. Yeah, taking charges.
So you need those kind of role players. Good to have him with us here at Miller Park. You've seen a good ball game. This game was a little flat early. The Nationals taking the crowd out of it early with a 5-1 lead, but the Brewers have come storming back to even it up. All tied at 5 here in the 7th as Ian Desmond leads off against Cameron Lowe. Narveson goes 6 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, and will not factor in the decision tonight. Neither starter will factor, as a matter of fact.
Made a couple of mistakes, but overall kept the Brewers in the game and will receive a no decision, able to eat up 6 innings.
Cameron Lowe has just been outstanding for the Brewers out of the bullpen. And has shown that breaking ball a lot more lately and picking up a lot more strikeouts lately as Desmond goes down on strikes for the 3rd time tonight.
Yep, sinker, curveball, slider, and Lowe able to get the first out of the inning. 3rd time Desmond has gone down on strikes. Hey fans, on August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, Wisconsin Coach Lines is offering motor coach service to Wrigley Field for $15 round trip. Free parking is available at Miller Park or from the Ryan Road Park and Ride. For information, go to wisconsincoach.com or call 877-324-7767.
Ryan Braun makes a catch. 2-men out as Roger Bernardina flies out to left in his first plate appearance of the night. And Cameron Lowe has 2 quick outs. I want to send out our best wishes and hellos to Dan and Mike, a couple of firefighters that came up to the booth here, and they wanted to say hello to all their colleagues at the fire station at 27th and Capitol, putting their lives on the line for us each and every day. It's great to have them in the booth. Look like a couple of fantasy camp prospects, to be honest with you.
Young kids.
Look like ball players.
Yeah, I don't know if they're 30 yet.
Yeah, definitely not 30.
Got to be 30. Don't want to be showing up guys like you.
That's for sure. So hello to Dan and Mike and all the firefighters at 27th and Capitol at the station.
Speaking of fantasy camp, Greg Vaughn going to be a fantasy camp coach along with Jeff Cirillo and one of the Nationals coaches, Pat Listash.
Vaughn's Valley. I don't remember that at County Stadium, but they brought it back here to Miller Park.
Oh, I do.
Vaughn's Valley.
January 30th to February 6th, Brewers fantasy camp this year.
Looking forward to that. And Greg Vaughn, as a camp instructor, he was already, kind of sizing me up. He asked me if I'd ever played baseball. He's already working on his roster picks.
Yeah, looking for the draft. Always working it. Vaughny's son Corey in the minor leagues down in A-ball.
Yeah.
He not with the Brewers. Who Corey signed with? The Mets.
The Mets.
10 home runs already after the draft.
That's making an impact. The 1-2. Morgan into center field. Gomez closing fast, and he's got it! Oh, what a play! Carlos Gomez! The best of the night. Look at that play by Gomez. Somehow hangs on. Has been a wild one here lately. Corey Hart had a triple, led to the first run. Then Mike Morse with the first of his 2 home runs here today. 4 RBIs for Morse, his first multi-homer game. Jim Edmonds with a base hit. That drove in a run back in the 5th inning. Brewers scored twice in the 5th, added 2 more in the 6th inning. And we have just seen perhaps the best catch of the season turned in by a Brewer this year. As Carlos Gomez, you talk about covering some ground.
Yeah, if he misses that ball, you think that Morgan's going to be at third base, and then the big hitters are going to come up. Look at the way he gets a jump. He angles back toward the gap, toward the wall, and watch him grab the baseball with his bare hand, closing that glove up as he hits the ground. That's a heck of a catch. Carlos Gomez, I mean, he's been playing some pretty good baseball this week.
Well, Gomez had an RBI triple in the 6th inning, and then Gomez scored the tying run when Escobar, the man next to him, drove him in. And those two are cackling away like they usually do. Best of friends on this ball club.
Yeah, you would never know if they're 4 for 4 or 0 for 4. They just love being in a baseball uniform, being out on the field. And Carlos Gomez showing you how he can make up ground. This is just what you call outrunning a baseball. Hits the ground. He gets 2 hands on the baseball, seals up that glove, and able to show it to the umpire for the out.
Well, that was something. We'll see if the Brewers can use a little of that momentum. Crowd came roaring to its feet after that catch by Gomez. Full count to Ricky Weeks. And a good cut. Nearly 35,000 on hand tonight. 34,822 the official attendance. First of a 3-game series with Washington, the first game of a 6-game homestand. Burnett deals, and Weeks draws the walk, so a base runner to start the 7th inning and a base stealer in Ricky Weeks. Ho-Chunk Gaming text question. Reese from Wauwatosa wants to know, with this weather, does humidity affect the ball in favor for the pitcher or for the batter? What do you think? Humidity?
I think humidity favors the pitcher. I think that the ball's a little bit softer. You get a better grip on it. And I don't think personally, and I think this is has been the common theory for many years, but it has been disputed lately that humidity kind of knocks the baseball down, doesn't carry as well. But there's been some information, some tests done that dispute that theory.
Now, I saw a report. A scientist did a report on it. He said, usually humidity comes with heat. Heat is what actually makes the ball carry further. Look at the sweat on Sean Burnett's arm. That gives you an idea of the humidity down on the field tonight.
Okay, so if you have 90 degrees in Arizona or 90 degrees in Milwaukee with humidity, where's the ball going to travel better?
Right. Well, I would say Arizona.
That's a rhetorical question because who am I to dispute a scientist?
But at the same time, you make a good point about humidity and the ability to grip a baseball and being able to, not just get loose faster, but spin breaking balls. And pitchers are always looking for moisture.
Case in point, the humidor in Colorado, right? There you go. Add some moisture. It's soften the baseball up. Not as hard. Easier to grip for a pitcher. It's one of the reasons why pitchers hate pitching in cold weather. They can't get a good feel for the baseball. Rock hard.
Steve McCatty, the Nationals pitching coach. He might have spotted something here. It's pretty much of a one-way conversation. As McCatty does all the talking.
Remember Steve McCatty as the starter with the Oakland A's. There's a guy that can finish what he started.
Oh, he's a big man.
Had a lot of complete games. What years was that? Back in the early 80s.
McCatty, during his time, he played in the late 70s and early 80s. He was always known as one of the bigger pitchers out there. Edmonds fouls it away.
27 complete games for Steve McCatty in 1980 and 81.
Nice. 27 complete games
combined between the 2 years.
Had 16 in 81.
He almost won a Cy Young Award back in 81 for the Athletics. That was the year Raleigh won the Cy Young as a Brewer.
That was part of that pitching staff that Billy Martin managed that completed an incredible number of games.
Hard throwing Drew Storen is loosening in the bullpen. Weeks takes off and no throw from Rodriguez. He had no chance. So Ricky Weeks with his 7th stolen base. And now in scoring position.
Picked a good pitch. Looked like a breaking ball, and Rodriguez, who throws about as good as anybody, down in the zone, no chance to get Ricky. So a base hit should give the Brewers a lead.
7 steals, caught 3 times. Weeks representing the go-ahead run. Now in scoring position for Edmonds. Edmonds batting for the 3rd time. He came in for Corey Hart, who left this game with a wrist injury. X-rays came up negative, but Hart will undergo an MRI tomorrow. In the meantime, Edmonds picking up the at-bats. He drove in a run with a single in the 5th. And Edmonds pulls that one right field. Well hit. Bernardino looks up and it's gone. Jim Edmonds. A 2-run home run. And just like that, the Brewers are on top.
Well, Sean Burnett continues to struggle against left-handed batters. And how about Edmonds? Didn't even start. Got a pitch up in his zone. Number 6 for Jim Edmonds, our Powerball home run count. And just able to sneak over that right field wall. That was a slider that did nothing, and Edmonds able to tomahawk it out of here, and the Brewers with a 2-run lead.
7-5 Milwaukee as Edmonds goes deep. The 2nd home run allowed by Sean Burnett to a left-handed hitter this year. Brock mentioned lefties hitting over 300 against Burnett, and Edmonds with his 2nd hit, he stays locked in at the plate.
Really is amazing, Burnett. Both of the home runs that he's allowed this year against lefties. Against right-handed batters, though, he's got a 182 batting average against. Go figure. How do you explain that? Not sure how you do.
Number 6 for Edmonds. His 2nd home run off a left-handed pitcher this year.
Well, he hit 4 balls on the nose yesterday. He's 0 for 4. And 2 for 2 tonight. Actually 2 for 3.
That was a bit of an unusual Edmonds swing. That was kind of a tomahawk swing from Jim Edmonds. His power field is to the opposite field. You don't see Edmonds pull many over the fence. Still going strong at 40 years of age, and a big hit gives the Brewers a lead here tonight. Braun is 0 for 2, had an RBI on a sac fly in the 1st. And he takes a strike. It's 3-2. Well, the Brewers have put multi-run innings together in the last 3 frames. 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, 2 more here in the 7th. Still nobody out as Braun tries to get it started all over again. Nationals had a 5-1 lead after 4. Brewers come roaring back. Most of the damage done by the bottom of the order. Gomez and Escobar. Narveson. Brewers pitcher getting into the act tonight. Fly ball to right for Bernardino. And that is the first out of the inning. U.S. Cellular text to vote tonight. Who is the most surprising team in baseball? White Sox, Reds, Rangers, Padres. You can text 234-234, the corresponding letter for the team you think is the most surprising in baseball. Always want to hear from you. Now it's Fielder with one away. 0 for 3 tonight. To the opposite field. That's going to get down a base hit. And Prince chugging around first on his way to second. He was sniffing an extra base hit from the time he left the box. It's a double with one out for Fielder.
And another base hit for a left-handed batter against Sean Burnett. They tried to come in on him. He got it in there, but Prince able to slice it inside the left field line for a double. And that's going to be it for Sean Burnett, who struggles against lefties, continues.
Riggleman is out to the mound. Fielder's double will be the last batter that Burnett faces. We'll take a break, set up the new pitcher when we come back. And another reliever out of that Nationals bullpen, the third used by Riggleman tonight. Joel Peralta is on the pitch.
Only his 12th appearance so far this year, a .69 earned run average, 12 punch outs, and 13 innings of work for Peralta.
Double switch here. Roger Bernardina goes from right to center field. And entering the game is Willie Harris, the new right fielder.
Yeah, Peralta was down in AAA Syracuse in the Nationals organization. 28 appearances down there, a 2-0 record out of the bullpen with 20 saves. Came up on June 21st.
So Peralta will face Casey McGee. 7-5 Crew as McGee bats with Fielder in scoring position and one out. And McGee into center field. Well hit, but right at Bernardina for the out. Tough break for McGee.
Not often you double switch with the leadoff hitter. That's a big bat out of that lineup. I mean, your best base stealer.
And Nigel Morgan lifted from this game. That's 2 double switches in this game for Jim Riggleman. So the Brewers might not get back to that spot. Milwaukee will have to go through the heart of the Nationals order in the 8th inning. And as Maka looks at what is ahead for the Nationals, his quote-unquote save inning might not necessarily be the ninth. It all depends on who comes up. But when you deal with the middle of the order, and in the eighth, the Nationals will have Guzman, Zimmerman, Dunn. If anybody gets on, Willingham. Axford went an inning and 2/3 last night to get the save in Pittsburgh.
Zach Braddock not available last night. Capuano did a nice job getting a couple of outs late in the game.
Pitcher of record is Cameron Lowe. He's in line for the win. There's Trevor Hoffman. Lucroy with a chance to add to it. 7-5 Brewers here in the seventh. A 2-run homer by Edmonds. And a swing and a miss. Lucroy down on the count, 1-2.
Peralta with a pretty good split-fingered fastball that he uses most of the time with 2 strikes. That looks like a slider.
AAA closer. Now pitching out of the Nationals bullpen in a relief role, a middle relief setup role. And he strikes out Lucroy. So the inning is over, but not before the 40-year-old Jim Edmonds goes downtown, and the Brewers have the lead as Jim Edmonds bangs out his 6th home run of the year. Nicely
comfortable
done.
breeze. I like that.
You see how she says that? Nice, comfortable
Very
breeze.
soothing. Makes you feel good.
Yep. Well done. 7-5. The Brewers have the lead. Jim Edmonds, a 2-run home run in the 7th to give the Crew the lead, and now Cameron Lowe in the winner's seat at this point. Well, how productive has the second spot in the batting order been tonight? Corey Hart started this game batting second. He belted out a triple in the first and scored a run. Edmonds with a single and an RBI and a 2-run home run. Edmonds, who replaced Hart after Corey left this game with a wrist injury. Fielder stays right down on it, makes the play. Christian Guzman is retired. Cameron Lowe keeps getting the ground outs. He's retired 4 in a row with a strikeout so far.
Keep the ball down. You make him reach for it, and Christian Guzman an easy out to start the 8th. It's all about throwing strikes. You get ahead in the count, and you make hitters go after your pitch as opposed to letting them sit back and wait for one right down the middle.
Here's Ryan Zimmerman. Big sweeping breaking ball from low. Zimmerman in the 2005 draft was taken one spot higher than Ryan Braun. Zimmerman went 4th overall that year. Braun went 5th in 05. And it's starting to shape up as one of the great draft classes in the last decade. Guys like Ryan Zimmerman and Ryan Braun. Cameron Maybin was on that list. Troy Tulowitzki went 7th. Zimmerman was actually in the big leagues in 05. The same year he was drafted. Backing up his Weeks. Out number 2.
Hey, come out to Miller Park as the Brewers host the Cincinnati Reds for the first time this year at home. On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. Picks are going fast. Call 414-902-4000 or go to Brewers.com today.
Scheduled to pitch for the Reds in that 3-game series: Bronson Arroyo, Edinson Volquez, and Travis Wood. Subject to change, but at this point that's where the Reds have it lined up. Travis Wood is pitching tonight. The Reds have a lead over the Astros 6-4. They scored 2 in the 8th to take the lead as they go to the 9th inning in Houston. 6-4 Cincinnati. The Cardinals lost earlier today. Division leaders shut out by the Cubs. Randy Wells beat Jeff Suppan. Suppan is now 0-6. Randy Wells with 7 shutout.
Randy Wells has had somewhat of an up and down season, hasn't he? Really hasn't been able to back up that good rookie season last year with Chicago.
He's got an ERA in the low 4s, but a big win today for the Cubs, or at least a big outing for Randy Wells. Roy Halladay was at it again today. 8 shutout innings against the Rockies. Struck out 9 and picked up the win. The Phillies beat the Rockies 6-0. Halladay combined with J.C. Romero for the shutout. Halladay's ERA now 2.28. Dunn rifles one through the shift. Gomez over to cut it off. Dunn's on his way to second base. And Gomez makes him work for it a little bit. So Adam Dunn with a double.
Well, when he gets extended and gets a pitch up in his zone, look out. Boy, he hits the ball hard. A rocket. He beats the shift. That pitch right down the middle up in the strike zone. The Brewers had the shift on for him. Escobar on the first base side of second base. And rips it into the gap. 52nd extra base hit for Adam Dunn. That leads the National League.
Checking out his hand. Caught that one a little bit off the end of the bat.
Really?
That's what he says. That's like when he went up in the dew deck. I didn't quite get all that.
Yeah, I got more. You never want to admit that you got it all.
Yeah. So a quick visit from Peterson. Capuano is getting loose. He is the lone left-hander in the bullpen. Braddock is still out there and active, but not available tonight.
They're probably getting ready for Willie Harris, who's on deck. Came in on the double switch.
Josh Willingham, the tying run at the plate. Dangerous hitter as Lowe deals him a strike. Let's kick it down to Drew Olson. What do you have, Drew?
Well, guys, you mentioned Zach Braddock is still unavailable due to arm fatigue. LaTroy Hawkins waiting in the wings. He's going to pitch his second of back-to-back games tonight for AAA Nashville. And we'll see when he'll be ready. Could be soon.
Yeah, Hawkins, he he had to prove to the Brewers, still does, that he can pitch in back-to-back games before he's put back on the big league roster. But the bullpen overall, even without Hawkins, has been terrific. I mean, the bullpen has been the best part of the Brewer pitching staff.
There have been days where they've struggled, but that happens with every bullpen. But over the course of the last 3 weeks, they have been very, very good. And it all started with Cameron Lowe and John Axford, Zach Braddock coming up.
0-2 pitch down in the dirt. Lucroy keeps it in front enough for Dunn to stay put. As Lowe continues to pitch well, he gets bigger and bigger innings to pitch. He starts to move his way into the 7th and in the 8th. And he is in a big spot here. The tying run at the plate. 2 outs in the 8th inning. Breaking ball, he hung it, and Willingham fouls it away.
That's because Willingham leaning out over the plate. He jammed himself on that. And leaking over that outside corner, you saw that shoulder stay closed, and he was expecting a breaking pitch away. Willingham got caught guessing his last time up.
One ball, 2 strikes. And he got him low. A power sinker strikes out Josh Willingham. Boy, did that ball have some movement or what? Straight to the shoe tops. And a strikeout to end the inning and end the threat. Lowe comes up big again for the Brew Crew. This one so far, it has been a comeback for the Brewers, down 5-1 after 4 innings. They now lead it 7-5. And we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Carlos Gomez leads off for Milwaukee against Peralta, who came on to get the final 2 outs of the 7th inning. And John Axford preparing for a potential save situation after Axford went an inning and 2/3 yesterday in Pittsburgh. Gomez had a big hit back in the 6th. Carlos a triple into left center. He tagged one into the gap. It scored McGee all the way from first. And then Gomez scored the tying run. The next hitter, Alcides Escobar, doubled. There's a bunt. Peralta hurries his throw, and Gomez is just out. Man, oh man, Gomez come crashing into first base with a belly flop.
Man, he's something else, and he's a lot of fun to watch when he does stuff like this, just trying to push that ball towards second base. And look at the play by Peralta. That's a heck of a play by the Nationals pitcher. And just barely out at first base. We're talking about going into first in a pile. That's an easy way to get hurt.
He knows one speed, and a good call over there by Vic Carapazza, the first base umpire. At the plate, presented by Wendy's, Escobar with 3 hits tonight. That was an excellent play by Joel Peralta coming off the mound. He knew he had to hurry with Gomez.
And especially when he's just about at full steam, about 2 steps into it. He's actually running as he bunts that baseball. When you do that, you really have to be careful not to step on home plate. If you step on home plate, make contact with the baseball, you're out.
Escobar's career high for hits in a game is 4. He did that last year. Interesting that he has 6 3-hit games this year. Escobar with 3 hits, 2 singles and a double and an RBI. Had a couple of hits yesterday in Pittsburgh.
They have 5 hits from the 7, 8, 9 hitters tonight, including Chris Narveson. 5 of the 9 hits. Bottom 3 in the order.
And 3 of the 7 runs coming from the bottom 3 in the order. The 1-2. Escobar takes a ball. Counsell is on deck. He'll pinch hit. Escobar has his batting average at .252 after his 3 hits tonight. Serves one to the right side, and it's Guzman makes a nice play. We're out number 2. The Dodge Ram reset. Let's get you caught up here. The pitcher, Chris Narveson, delivered a run for the Brewers, scoring Escobar. That was the 2nd run. Jim Edmonds, an RBI in the 2-run 5th. It was Gomez who drove in a run as well. And then Edmonds with the big blow in this game, a 2-run home run that put the Crew on top. In the 5th, 6th, and 7th innings, the Brewers get 2 runs in each of those frames to take the lead here. They had the first lead tonight with a run in the 1st, but trailed by 4 runs after 4. Craig Counsell with 2 away. The Nationals will have Willie Harris leading off the 9th inning, Pudge Rodriguez, and then Ian Desmond. So they get to the bottom of their order as Axford prepares for another save opportunity. Pop up, playable for Desmond. Never mind. Guzman says he's got it, and the inning is over. And the stage is set for the Canadian, John Axford. The Axeman cometh when we come back. Miller Park, Milwaukee. Jim Edmonds, big story tonight. He came on for Corey Hart. Hart left with an injury. Edmonds with 2 hits and 3 runs batted in, including the 2-run home run that gave the Brewers the lead. 7-5 Milwaukee as Axford is on to try to nail down his 14th save of the year. And he'll have 2 runs to work with, and he'll be facing the bottom of the Washington Nationals batting order.
Yeah, picked up save number 13 last night in Pittsburgh and threw an inning and 2/3 and looked very sharp in doing it.
Well, Trevor Hoffman in that bullpen. Axford has given a lot of credit to Trevor during this time. Never a closer until he got to the big leagues, and he is a perfect 14 for 14. 13 of those coming this year. Axford saved the game, the final game of the season last year in St. Louis. And is off to a great start in his major league career, and you have to say that it would be an improbable start. Even John Axford never imagined he'd be closing games at this point. Willie Harris leads off for the Nationals. Came into the game on a double switch.
And another great job by Cameron Lowe. 2 scoreless innings.
Gave up just 1 hit. Lowe with 2 strikeouts. No walks. And Cameron Lowe striking out Josh Willingham with Adam Dunn out at second base. Willingham representing the tying run. Lowe punched him out with a sinking fastball. He is in line for the win. High and tight. Well, you got to watch the velocity of Axford tonight and the command. He did go an inning and 2/3 last night. And you wonder how much he's got in the tank.
And the one thing he really hasn't had a problem with this year is throwing strikes. He's only walked 12 with 38 strikeouts. That's a great ratio for a hard thrower.
Full count. Harris taken all the way. Into center field. And it's Gomez right there, out number 1. Axford comes all the way back and gets the first out of the 9th inning. Now Pudge Rodriguez. The Brewers' largest comeback win this year was 3 runs, coming back from a 3-run deficit, and that's happened multiple occasions.
That's the pitch right there that has separated him from just your average right-handed hard thrower, that curveball. Starting a hitter out with a curveball like that, and then you back it up with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Makes it tough on a hitter.
There's a fastball. Rodriguez down 0-2. And a well-placed fastball as well, right on the outside corner. Look at that spot.
And if you can't throw that curveball for a strike, it doesn't matter how hard you throw. Hitters are going to catch up to it at some point.
See what he does here, 0-2. A fastball right by him, 96. Axford dials it up. And it's out number 2 as John Axford is 1 away from sealing this one up as they come to their feet here at Miller Park.
All set up with that first pitch curveball for a strike. And it's a defensive mode for Rodriguez after that curveball.
Little bouncer. Axford fires in time. The Brewers win it. Down 5-1, the biggest comeback win of the year for Milwaukee. Edmonds hits the home run to give him the lead. His 6th of the year, our Menards player of the game. And John Axford saves number 14. He continues to impress in his rookie season. Time now for Brewers Live. We send it out to Craig Kashian.